Most leaders have had to have the tough conversations. Coaching up a staff member, leading a high-stakes presentation, and even the difficult responsibility of ending someone's employment. We teach ourselves to have a thick skin, coach ourselves up in the rough places, telling ourselves it's just business. But what do you do when it's just business happens to you? There I was, reconciling with myself that my world was crashing down around me. I remember so clearly hearing, because we value you as an employee, we want to offer you this generous severance package. However, in order to receive this package, we need you to sign this letter. I peered down at the paperwork, and I kid you not, it read in bold letters, "For the aged employee." My heart began to race, and the words started fumbling out of my mouth. I'm confused. You recruited me here. You wooed me for a year. I moved my family here. And as the response started, I literally had an out-of-body experience. I saw myself, looking at myself, telling myself, breathe. This is happening, but you must leave here with your character and your integrity intact. Now, the car ride home had nothing to do with my character or my integrity. I filled my vehicle with visceral screams. But somewhere in the noise, I heard myself saying, I trust you. I trust you. There I was, 2 years into this great new city with no real soft place to land. I had poured myself into this company and had made no real connections for myself. There was no time for networking, there was just the work. Now, I'm old enough to know, because I'm an aged employee, that some people will count you out without ever really knowing who you are. But in my devastation, there was a truth that was harder for me to accept. I had counted myself out. I was so busy being great at what I do that I stopped developing the muscle of who I am. Now, if we're being honest, we have all done this. Given ourselves over to something or someone so deeply that we lose our sense of self. In my self-reflection, and dare I say frustration, I realized I had operated that entire time outside of purpose. And when I grabbed a hold of that revelation, I had to sit down and ask myself some hard questions. One of which was, without that salary, would I still want to perform that particular work in the way that it was structured for me to perform it? And the answer was no. So then I had to dig a little deeper and ask myself why. It was because I was no longer able to do what I am destined to do. Engage, enlighten, and empower others. Not just nice words to me, it is my life's call. And can I get you to consider that it is a call that we must all answer? I remember early in my career, I was at a networking event and I was watching this wildly successful businesswoman. And she had a unique way of networking. And she would write things about people on the back of their business cards. And so I asked her, what is that? What are you doing? And she stood back in a very thick Southern accent and she said, sweet darling, people do business with people that they know, but people refer the most business to people with whom they have a connection. Think about that. People do business with people that they know, but they refer the most business to people with whom they have a connection. Now, fast forward present day, here I am knowing that truth, and I had spent 2 years disconnected from me. disengaged from being a light, even in the darkness, enlightening others. Even in chaos, disappointment, or delay, we can still choose to show up and offer clarity. I had to realize some hard truths about what I wanted, what I lost, and what I still had left to give. Now that's the gift of empowerment. To empower for me means to show up with presence. It means for me to transform my pain into purpose. Giving yourself permission to rebuild and then offering the same courage to others. Many thought that my setback was my end. But it is a scientific fact that you cannot experience the beauty of a rainbow without first having a storm. My setback wasn't the end. It was the beginning of me finding my voice again. At the core of Engage, Enlighten, and Empower is the humanity of it all. It's when I can look you in the eye, have the hard conversations, and we both win. Not necessarily tit for tat, but we both learn and leave empowered for whatever comes next in our lives. Because as sure as we live, we will go through disappointments. They are inevitable, but they will only last for a season. And when they come, we have to pause and ask ourselves, what is the next right move? Because I don't want my life to be, it's just business. I want the business of my life to be in service to others. I want to build businesses, champion people, and leave every room more whole than I found it. That's the work I choose. And I challenge you to find your work, to go out and leave others better than you found them. Engage, enlighten, empower them. Not just my mantra, it is now yours and my gift to you, and a call that we must all answer. Thank you.